Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video, I'll be taking you through the process I use to choose colour schemes for my wargaming terrain. In this video, I'm going to be using Keynote to show you how I pick out the colours for my different terrain pieces, but you could do the same technique with Photoshop or even with Microsoft PowerPoint, so that's no problem at all. So in this video, we'll go through the Warcry Red Harvest book and we'll take a look at all the images for the terrain, and I'll just show you the process I go through for choosing like colour schemes for my different terrain and different pieces, and then hopefully that's going to help you decide perhaps how you might like to approach your project for Warcry Red Harvest. So let's get started. I've made my cursor crazy big, so hopefully you can see that as we go through it. But I've took photos of all the different pages with the different terrain on, and so we can see all the different colour schemes. But the lighting they use in the photography is going to have a big effect, but I think we can use that to our advantage, and we can use this as some kind of references and guides, even inspiration as to how we might want to paint our terrain. So where they've gone for like a green background and almost a green lighting, we could take the colours that we can see on the terrain that lighting has influenced and then use that in our choice of paint. So we could just take our colour picker from down here, we can move over to the terrain piece, and then we can start looking at the different colours. So what I would do at this stage, let me just get rid of that, is I would add a shape. So let's add a square and then just make it a little bit bigger. Let's make that square a bit bigger. We'll pop it there. Oop. Where's the square? This cursor's huge. Right, that'll work. And then I'll take the colour picker and I'll move over to the image and I'll pick out somewhere on that image, perhaps here, where it's the most highlighted. So I'll look for the brightest pixel. And then that's going to give us the main brightest highlight for those edges that we can see all along here. Then I'll just copy and paste that square, go back to the colour picker and maybe pick somewhere that's not quite so bright, almost like a mid-tone. So let's have a look as we go through. Maybe we're looking at this kind of colour here. So we could start building up them. We could either just go black with our terrain, like a black primer, and then use this highlight over it and almost be done there. Just leave it at that. Or we could build up layers of dry brushing to go from black, add a little bit of this in there, and then go to the highlight. We could even take this square, copy paste it, and then we could go along the slider here and just make it a bit darker. And then we've got three different colours that we can go with. So this could be like our base. We could have black as our prime and then dry brush this dark grey leading up to this, and then finally to this, which is almost a little bit of an off green, like a minty green colour. So that's one way we could just look at that image and then take those colours from it. But let's have a look at some of the other images from the book. We can just look at all the different colour schemes and talk about some different approaches to it. We can also look at the different metals that they've used. And for this, I'm just going to go with a basic lead belcher, then put some different contrast paints over. And I'm going to do that much like I did with the iron golem. So I'm going to use a couple of different coloured contrast paints and get some nice effects from that. And then just on the edges, I'm going to try and avoid it when I put the contrast paint on, but then just give it an extra highlight with maybe some Stormhost silver, and then just dirty this up with a little bit of maybe like a shade. I'm not sure, maybe an Agrax earth shade or a null oil, just to get in those kind of rivets there. So the metal is going to be really easy, but my first approach is going to be to do all the woodwork and then go back in and do the metal. And as we keep going through the pictures, we can see we've also got these sluices to consider, and this is going to be very similar. They're weird in their construction because there's a lot of wood and then there's these metal pieces that almost go over the wood and in, and there's going to be some more colours to consider here, and there's some great images coming up that can give us some more ideas about how we might want to do that. But dry brushing for me is going to be the key with all this terrain. And then we want to make this really bright as well, so I'm going to have a look at some different techniques. You almost want it to be not so much metallic but bright like that, really vibrant. So we'll see how we can approach that. And then looking through all the different images, you can see the use of light really changes this terrain. So we're not going to have all this light probably when we're playing the game, but we could paint it like this, no problem. And using that colour picker is going to allow us to go in here, and let's grab a shape again like we did before. We could literally take our colour picker and then just pick out that nice bright colour there, copy and paste it, and then go for the main highlight, which is this really bright color, almost white lemony color. So we've got a couple there, and then we could copy those, move them up, copy that one. That could be like our mid one if you like, and then we can make this a little bit darker. And there we go. So we've got 3 different levels that we could go with, and dry brushing those is going to give us something close to this effect that the lighting has brought to it. But you can see down here, it's very simple. I mean, you could, there's no reason why you couldn't just take the highlight again and just highlight one color over the black, and it's going to work perfect for some tabletop ready standard pieces. But I think approaching it with some different colors is going to be a really nice way to go. I also want to incorporate some of the board into it, because there's quite a lot going on with that board, the colors, and that's how I'm going to go with mine. But this is a really nice look. I think if you wanted to go for a bright golden effect, you've got lots of pieces in here that you can look to. Even this highlight here, you know, that's going to be slightly different to the first one we went with up here with like that off green. Here we're going to get a bit more of a like a lemon color, so that's going to change the whole effect of your piece and how it looks on the board. And then loads of photos in there. You've really got a lot of great reference points. Again, more gold, and this might be a good way to start looking at how you can use foam pieces and rocks to make some terrain to go around it, and that's something I'm keen to have a go at. But this is nice. If you wanted to do something, as someone mentioned in one of the previous videos, it would be really cool to do like a Skaven theme mine. And so if you wanted to go with a green vibe, like they've done with the light in here, you could certainly do that and up your different greens that you're using. And certainly where the wood meets the rock, you could brush in a little bit of green on that and go for a bit more like aggressive dry brushing around the base to give an effect of like the dust on it. But that's going to conflict with the board a little bit and contrast with it, maybe not in a great way, so just bear that in mind, the board you're going to be using. But if you wanted to make your own with foam, you could certainly go for a whole green theme and make a really awesome looking mine. Here you can see we've got like the terrain from the main set and also from the catacomb set, and so you could incorporate it all into your mine, that would, and then go with the same colors you've used on your main Warcry terrain, and then maybe just dust it up a little bit. And I was tempted to do that, but I think I'm going to go with a completely different color scheme, and this is one that really stood out to me. I want to make it so I've almost got 2 pools of terrain to pull from, rather than just having it all in the same theme. So I'm thinking going for a nice purple and red and black is really going to look cool. Bit of orange in there, and that's going to tie in with our board as well. So this one really jumped out to me, and I really like the use of the purple there. So I'll be using that as my guide and just color picking from that. And then here again, you've got some nice pictures and inspiration to use for some terrain around it. And when you put in little tunnels and things, you could almost recreate a bit of the catacombs vibe and the mine, and maybe combine those 2 rules. So that might be fun to do in the game as well. And then we've got there's lots of this, lots of orange, so that's a really strong theme. But it's this purple I think looks really cool, and I like the use of this like masonry terrain as well. And I think this works really nice. Having that gold and purple is going to be really fun. You can see a lot of it here. And then on the sluice here, this is where I want to take some shapes again, and I want to start picking out with my color picker the main highlight, then copy and paste that. Then I want to find something in the mid-tone there, and there's that one, and then go darker again. So I'll just use the slider to go dark, and then putting those 3 over black is going to get us something quite similar to the effect that we can see here. So that's pretty good. I like that. And then going again with the gold, you know, if we put the gold next to it, you can see what all the colors will look like together. So yeah, this all complements each other, and so I think this looks really nice. There's another one there, really nice close-up images. So these are fantastic references for us to use. And this will work really nice for the Tarantulas brood. You start getting that purple against this kind of almost orangey, bronzy colour. And then you've got this off-green. You've got a nice trio on your colour wheel there going on. So you've got the purple from here, the orange from here, and the green from here. So it's nice to have that triangle on a colour wheel for the colours to complement each other. So that could work really nice. And then you could almost make it the home of the Tarantulas brood, and they're like inhabiting it maybe. So yeah, I just think it's going to work really nice with the theme. And then we got more. You could go a bit more red. You got the traditional colour for it there. Lots more yellowy gold. So you're going to have lots to choose from here and here and here. But there you can see it looks very grey. So, but looks can be deceiving. So again, just grab a shape and grab that picker and just make sure it is the colour you think it is, because it can look totally different on here than what it does in real life. And then when you want to mix your colours, it's easier to, rather than trying to look at this colour, which the other colours are going to influence, take this colour, isolate it against maybe like a black background or a white background, and then you'll be able to use this to mix your colour a lot easier. And you can see that's not grey really, that's like almost like a beige colour. So while it might look grey there because you're being influenced by this black and other darker greys, it's actually a little bit beige, and so that's going to give you a different look to your finished piece. Again, more gold. So there's tons of pictures in here. This is a nice one. This could just show you, just with one highlight, you could really make it look good, and then do the metal work and you're done. So I think this has got the potential to be done really fast. Again here, nice and simple, just a little bit of dry brushing. If you've done a black prime, I don't even think you need to put a shade on this. A little bit of work on the metal, and then that's going to stand out and be the feature while this is the background. But this is an interesting section. You can see we've got some different colours going on here. So we've got two different colours incorporated into it. So let's grab a couple of shapes again and we'll pick those out. So now we're almost looking at a kind of mint green, I would say, at the top. Let's move those. And then down here, we've got a totally different colour here, more of like an orangey, reddy colour. Well, it's not actually, it's more like a dirty brown. So you got those two colours and they're going to work nicely together. So you could almost go over this in areas and then certainly down the bottom, and that's going to match in nicely with the board, and then highlight with that one. And then as we move through, we can see, but here you can see the board. The board's got some really nice colours. So I think going with purple, there is some purple coming through this. That's going to work nicely. And then with the gold, that's going to tie in with all the lava pools. So here we can see those colours being put to use. And I really like how this has got all like the extra dust in at the bottom. So I'll certainly be doing that. So we'll almost try and bring that board incorporated into some of the terrain, but not all the way up, because that dust isn't going to go necessarily all the way up. It is going to be in those sluices, and it's going to certainly be on the wooden beams, but it's not going to necessarily get to the top, even if they're walking up and down and climbing on this. So I think having those two different colours is a nice way to go, and dry brushing more heavy at the bottom, and then just fanning it out and thinning in that dry brush out, being a bit lighter as you move up. Then go over with the highlight, again heavy at the top, but getting lighter as you go down. I think that's a good way to go. And if I can incorporate that into my purple theme, I think that's going to work really well. But if you want to come away from the lighting and just look at the actual pieces, then you've got those available in that book too. And some really nice crisp images. But you can see here, it looks like it's been primed in black. And then we've got that dirty brown, little bit of red going at the bottom. And then we've got the highlight coming down, getting fainter as we get to the bottom. So that's a really good technique, I think. It's still going to be quick, it's still going to be easy, but using this colour picker is a great way to get those colours, and then when you mix them with your own paints, you can offer the paints up to a big square on your screen or whatever, on your iPad or on your computer, and then you can really see if those colours match, rather than trying to look at the images in the book and it not quite being what you think it is. I hope this gave you a little insight into one of the processes that I like to use sometimes when choosing a colour scheme. And again, you can make this as simple or as complicated as you want. You could just go with a base colour like prime it and one highlight, or you could use these three different stages and just mix it up a bit, give it a little bit more attention and detail, and then even use those two different colours for the base of the struts and the top. So I think that's a good way to go. But either way, I hope this has helped you and maybe given you a little inspiration about how you might like to paint your terrain. And now I'm going to go and get on with it. I've been procrastinating a little bit, deciding which colour to go with, whether or not to have it tied in with my existing terrain, but I have made the decision to go with that purple scheme and then come away and have a completely different set of terrain. I think that'll be really fun. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't got Red Harvest yet, but you're interested in it, then there's lots of videos on my channel that you can check out already. And I'll put some links in the description below where you can save up to 20%. There'll be affiliate links, but don't cost you anything extra. And you support the channel as I get a small commission too. So thanks so much if you do go there and pick up a set. I really appreciate that, and it makes a huge difference. Also, liking and subscribing makes a massive difference. for the channel as well. So thanks so much for that. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page, and thanks to everyone who's joined so far. It's really awesome. We hang out on Discord, talk about the hobby, share ideas and help each other out, and you'll get some perks there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description, and it'd be great to see you there.